Well guys, I got a lot of the paint work done that I wanted to get done. Kind of cleaned up the floor a little bit. I tried to do some time-lapse stuff. We'll see how it turns out as I've been working on it. We checked pushrod length at my buddy's shop. We had a couple sets of push rods and didn't have a tool there. So there was one set that was just really close to right. Went ahead and ordered that set. Then I actually ordered another set. I got to thinking about it, and I thought 50 thousandths shorter would be like perfect. So I've got both sets of push rods. I've done a little preemptive testing the other day, but I couldn't get Persian blue. I had to order it. It's crazy stuff. Just nobody stocks anything anymore. But anyway, I've got that now, and we got the paint kind of worked out to where I can go ahead and start working on putting it together. My rockers are back ordered, so they won't be here until the 1st of next month, actually like the 11th. So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and double check my push rod length and make sure I've got the set I ordered is like I want, and then so I can return the other set. And with that, then I'll flip it over, pull everything out, of course, flip it over and change out the pickup tube on the pump, and I guess go ahead and install the oil pan and pull these spark plugs. This thing be kind of hard to turn over, all this compression. I didn't pull the spark plugs. Keep just looking, see a little spot. I'm like trying to make sure it's not something that's going to be detrimental, some little piece of trash in there. I really need some more lights. Alright, so what I'm gonna do, and of course the cam's already in there, I'm gonna lube up a set of my lifters here. Drop them in the bores. So we're on top dead center compression stroke. So at this point, both valves are closed, and it kind of seemed like the thing to do would be to just set them right there. Like I said, we're on compression stroke. Of course, the valves would be closed right now. Kind of seems like you would think you'd set them there because the valves are closed, but we're actually going to do exhaust opening, intake closing. That's what my buddies do. That's what I've seen on the internet that everybody does. I'm going to try these 73, 72 Comp Cams Magnum push rods. They're 5/16, but they're really good push rods. Buddy of mine turns them real hard in his motor, so he's never had any trouble. And then another buddy of mine was kind enough to loan me a set of his rocker arms because I ordered the exact same set. I'm excited and I really want to get this thing together. I wish my rocker arms were here. I could go ahead and put my stuff all together. So, well, this is the way I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna just by feel give me plenty of slack. So like I said, I know where we're at. So I'm gonna go ahead and ease this thing around. I still gotta do the fix on my balancer. I don't have the bolt torqued. I've got it on and ready. Okay, so see that the exhaust just started to open. So now we know the intake is on the base circle. So that's where we're gonna set it. And I'm gonna verify my cam card for my lash settings. Yeah, so intake's 26 and exhaust is 28. Got my filler gauge already set up. So this time we're gonna be on the intake. Of course this is exhaust intake. So I got 26. I'm just gonna set that thing. Filler gauge is just like it says, you know, you go by feel. So like right there, that's right. If I back off just a little bit, it's real loose. That's just a nice, I know it's just by feel it's right. You want to feel it. You want to know that it's there, but you don't want to have to force nothing. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna run the set screw down. Go ahead and give it just a little bit of snug. Make sure that my setting's still the same. So there's the intake. Alright, so now that's the exhaust opening. Now we got to spin it on around to where the intake is closing. And you know, I've heard it different ways, but my buddy told me, you know, you want it about halfway up. So I'm just gonna kind of guess, but there we go. So now exhaust should be on the base circle. So once again, this one's a 28. So you just kind of do the same setup here. Go a little bit too much, you won't be able to get back in there. And what you, like I said, you just want to feel it. It goes, it's kind of hard to explain, but there it is for me. Because it is just a feel. You know when you got it right. And of course I snugged that nut up, okay, so I'm gonna double check it. Now, I'm going to go ahead and go back up when that valve closes. Our timing mark is going to be lining up. That puts us back on top dead center. See, we got a little slack. Alright. So here comes the time that we got to do a little bit. So I've snugged the set screws, and generally I would have tightened them more like if I was setting it to run. I snugged them to keep my rough set, you know, where I want them. So at this point, I'm gonna make sure I keep the same nut on each side, but I left the set screw set, and you know, it won't be perfect, but it should be real close. Enough to make sure my push rods are right. So, just gonna move these out of the way so you guys can see what I'm gonna do. This is Persian blue. It's just like some dye that just doesn't set up. It's gonna stay kind of almost like grease. That's a dye. I put just a little too much in the color. Okay, so after you get your Persian blue on there, of course, just wanna make sure it's covered good and be real easy about setting them in. Not, you know, shaking them up, you know, moving it around. You want to see the sweep from the cam. So we left the set screw tight. So as soon as you feel it bottom up in out, you know, I feel like it's good enough, you know. So. And I try to set them in to where they're touching the valve and the push rod at the same time, you know. I'll probably go too extreme or whatever, but trying to keep that blue on there just like it's supposed to be. And then of course, make sure they're seated in there. Alright, so we're going to do a couple cycles. That gets it back up, bring this up, put it back on top dead center. I don't know if the angles are right or anything, but hopefully you guys can see. You know, it should be loose, everything should be all right there. Like I said, we'll probably repeat this a couple times just to make sure. So I want to leave my nut setups adjusted, and then, you know, I won't video it necessarily, but I'll spot check a few others, you know. Heck, I might take time to do all of them just to make sure. But that looks pretty daggum good. What you want is that roller mark to be as close to the center of that valve as you can. You don't want it out on the edge or on either edge, but especially, you don't want it to roll off for sure. But even, you know, if you're not, you know, this one is like dead center. Hopefully you guys can see that. I'll pull in a little close up. That one's pretty close to center as well. That way I know when that rocker's pushing that valve through that valve stem through that guide, it's not putting any rock on it. Back when I used to do machine work, you know, you could always see if somebody was running something wrong, and those old valve guides would wear out quick. I mean, you can get to the point you're bending valves too, so just be careful. You know, make dang sure that you get it right. You don't want to spend all this money and have trouble, which I'm gonna learn nitrous on this motor, so I'm liable to have trouble anyway, but you know, it is what it is. But I feel like these push rods are the right length. So I'll probably just do a time lapse and me mess around with some.